Hi, today we are going to discuss about Tunnel 2.0 traffic forwarding in Zscaler client connectors. Zscaler client connectors earlier supports Tunnel 1.0, which can forward only 80 or 443 or web-based traffic only, whereas Tunnel 2.0 supports all ports and protocols to be forwarded to Zscaler client connectors from the end user machine. Let's jump in and see other benefits we can get out of from tunnel 2.0. To start with the overview, this tunnel 2.0 is predominantly used for ZIA cloud. There is no impact in ZPA tunnelings. 2.0 tunnels are persistent packet-based tunneling for IPv4 traffic regardless of the ports and protocols. Encrypted TLS control channel will be established from the Zscaler client connectors to the nearest private or public service edges. One or more null encrypted data channels also established using TLS or DTLS communication. There is a full backward compatibility to tunnel 1.0 with no changes at user end. Zscaler client connectors 2.x and above on both Windows and Mac operating systems support Tunnel 2.0. Just see the basic comparisons between Tunnel 1.0 and 2.0. Tunnel 1.0 is just a pseudo proxy. Tunnel 2.0 is act as a pseudo VPN. Both Tunnel and Tunnel with local proxy modes are supported in Tunnel 1.0, whereas Tunnel mode only supports in Tunnel 2.0. Tunnel 1.0 supports 8443 or web-based protocols like HTTP, HTTPS on any ports. Tunnel 2.0 records Windows packet filter, driver, and turn driver on Mac operating systems. And 2.0 will almost send all ports from the client connector to Zscaler public service edges or private service edges. Connect to the closest healthy public service edges are statically mentioned and app profile pack file. A null encrypted tunnel will be established using DTLS or TLS communication towards the service edges. No requirement for local proxy settings in tunnel 2.0, whereas some requirements like domain-based bypass or multi-connect is achievable through the local proxy settings. We can see more information about those configurations in upcoming slides or next video. This flowchart is simply described like both tunnel 1.0 and 2.0 traffic flow. The left hand side is described about the tunnel 1.0 in red boxes, and the path which is mentioned on green is predominantly for tunnel 2.0. Um, when a traffic is hitting from a browser, system proxy will take an action. System proxy will decide, should I send my traffic to Zscaler client connector to process it or send my traffic to direct. So once the traffic is getting into app profile, a pack file, it will look at is there any direct statement or the proxy statement. If there are proxy statement, a HTTP unencrypted tunnel will be established towards the send node. Whereas in tunnel 2.0, the LWF or tab driver is needed. There are two options will be configurable: include and exclude. Include is nothing but send the traffic to the Zen nodes or the service edges. That is nothing but data channel. And exclude is nothing but send the traffic to direct to the internet. Tunnel 1.0 always running on tunnel 2.0. This is a record for several features such as uh, domain-based bypasses and multi-connected. So this diagram is simply gives overview about how to configure the tunnel 2.0. Tunnel 2.0 is to be enabled on the forwarding profile. You could see two options, tunnel 2.0 and tunnel 1.0. So you can choose any one of these. When you choose tunnel 2.0, you need to configure advanced 2.0 configurations like primary transport selection. Should I initiate my connection with the DTLS or TLS? And there are timeout options, which is for both DTLS and TLS separately. There is an option to configure MTU and Zscaler adapters, which is used to configure MTU value on virtual adapters. There are two fallback options like TLS and Zscaler tunnel 1.0. The last option is system proxy settings. This is needed for achieve the domain-based bypass and multi-connect. So we do have other options like VPN trusted network, which is used to um, handle the VPN traffic handle. So those are not important. Those configurations are common to tunnel 1.0 and 2.0. In tunnel 2.0 data center recovery, um, the Zscaler client connector get app profile pack file uh, from the central authority. Once that the client connector receives the pack file, it will parse the file for destinations. So once destinations are identified by from the pack file, the client connector will establish a query towards the ZENS, nearest ZENS, to understand their supported tunnel versions. Once the client connector identifies the Zen and their supported versions, a connection will be established using tunnel 2.0 to the Zen nodes or service edges. If the pack file is invalid, then the client connector will establish another connection towards gateway.cloudname.net to identify the nearest Zen nodes. This is a symbol flow or traffic flow, which represents a host is sending the traffic to Zscaler client connectors and sending the traffic directly from the host machine. There will be two spaces, user space and kernel space. All applications, including Zscaler client connector, is running on the space, and the inclusions, gateway bypass exclusions are running on the kernel. uh, Windows packet filters. All gateway bypass and exclusions will be sent directly to the internet using physical interfaces. Inclusion traffic will be sent to the Zscaler client connectors. The up profile pack file will establish a control channel towards the public service edges based on the configurations and app profile return statement. Once that is done, um, the client connector again established one or more data channel connections to the service edges to send the traffic to Zscaler for cleaning. More here also you could see there are some bypasses happened once the traffic is reached to Zscaler client connector. Those bypass traffic will be sent to the physical interface directly to internet. The AV whitelisting must be done for Zscaler client connectors to work properly, and also in the inbound and outbound firewall routes on the firewall, local firewall of user machines to be enabled to ensure that all communications have happened freely without any intervention. That's it about Tunnel 2.0. So we thank you for watching. We can see you later in another video.